Okay, let's try this again. Try this again, people. Okay. Get my windows set up the way that they should be. Let's see. It's acting kind of funny today. Anybody there? Hello? Hey, there's Alicia. All right, I'll explain what's going on, kids. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know what happened. So, we're going to try again. I'll explain in a second when more people get here. But good morning again. I can't wait for you guys to be reading with me the book of 1 Samuel. We're going to be in chapter 21, bam, of the ESV version of the Bible. If you don't have an ESV and you want to follow along, go to BibleGateway.com, open up a new tab, and that way you can follow along and check out all my awesome reading errors. But we're continuing along with the life of David and Saul, not a happy camper, and Jonathan helping him out. And boy, oh boy, we're getting ready to witness one of the big mess-ups of David. It's not as big as ones to come, but it's big. So, sorry about the delay. There was some kind of weird technical thing going on. I actually don't know what happened, but it froze, so we had to restart. So let's say, Alicia, the glasses have returned. Here's the truth. My eyes are weird. Like, if I take my glasses off, I can read that screen very well right now. But if I don't put the glasses on, I can't read my Bible. So it's a balance. Anyway, let's say good morning to everybody who's here. Hopefully the people who figure it out come on over to the new stream. So anyway, good morning to Alicia. Good morning to Mike DeFazio. My squeaker's getting better. I'm getting over the cold. Good morning, Mike. Monica Sherman, Wesley, Big Family Devotions. Good morning to myself. Good morning, Ruth. Good morning, Scott, Steve, Ganink, Alicia, Jeanette, Tina Shaver, Southern Prairie Homestead, Phoebe, Delaney B. Karen. Good morning to Pepper Leah, Bulletproof Pastor, Lisa Park, Plan with Jen, Sally H., Krista, and crew. Good morning to Jules and Tom, and I think everybody else. Well, hopefully everybody comes over and figures it out, but good morning to you guys all. Clink. Good morning, Bill. How are you, sir? Hey, look at that. It froze again. What's with that? I don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know. Can you still hear me? Can you guys still hear me at all? Hello? Can you still hear me even though the screen is stopped? Okay, Wesley, I tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to do something on the fly here. Let's see what I can do. Let's grab a image, and hopefully I can find something that doesn't look like Brad's getting ready to sneeze in his coffee, because that's just not going to do. Here's a good image. This one is pretty powerful. Let's look at this one while we talk about David, because Christ was carrying him the whole way, even when he was messing up. How about that one? We can look at that one. That one looks pretty good. All right, so we're going to look at that one while we continue on. I have no idea what's going on with the the image today. So we're going to plug along. So here we are. Let's read in chapter 21, 1 Samuel, and I guarantee you guys, I know that there's technical difficulties, and there probably is because there's really great content today, and I don't want to jip it. So let's go. Chapter 21, verse 1. Here we go. Then David came to Nob, to Ahimelech the priest, and Ahimelech came to meet David trembling, and said to him, "Why are you alone, and no one with you?" And David said to Ahimelech the priest, "The king has charged me with a matter, and said to me, 'Let no one know anything of the matter about which I send you.' and with which I have charged you, I have made an appointment with the young men for such and such a place. Now then, what do you have on hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread, or whatever is here. And the priest answered David, I have no common bread on hand, but there is holy bread. If the young men have kept themselves from women, and David answered the priest, truly, women have been kept from us, as always when I go on an expedition. The vessels of the young men are holy, even when it is an ordinary journey. How much more today will their vessels be holy? So the priest gave him the holy bread, for there was no bread there but the bread of the presence, which is removed from before the Lord to be replaced by hot bread on the day it is taken away. Now, a certain man of the servants of Saul was there that day, detained before the Lord. His name was Doeg, the Edomite, the chief of Saul's herdsmen. Then David said to Ahimelech, Then, have you not here a spear or a sword on hand? For I have brought neither my sword nor my weapons with me, because the king's business required haste. And the priest said, The sword of Goliath, the Philistine, whom you struck down in the valley of Elah, behold, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If you will take that, take it, for there is none other but that here. And David said, There is none other like it. Give it to me. Verse 10. And David rose and fled that day from Saul and went to Achish, the king of Gath. And the servants of Achish said to him, Is this not David, the king of the land? Did they not sing to one another of him and in dances? Saul has struck down thousands, and David his 10,000s. And David took these words to heart, and was much afraid of Achish, the king of Gath. So he changed his behavior before them, and pretended to be insane in their hands, and made marks on the doors of the gate, and let his spittle run down his beard. Then Achish said to his servants, Behold, you see, the man is mad. Why then have you brought him to me? Do I lack madmen, that you have brought me this fellow to behave as a madman in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house? Oh, man. Okay. Here we go, guys. Plan with Jen. Trust me, I'm a computer nerd, and the computer that I have built for this very purpose is 8 times faster than anything Macintosh could sell you for $4,000. Because I'm that nerdy. All right, let's go. It's a YouTube issue or something. I have no idea what's going on. But we're going to plod along because this is amazing, guys. This is absolutely amazing. And I know it's not as interactive if you can't see my, awesomely handsome face. Right. Okay. But I do want to make some points because there's some good stuff in here. So please make comments and get involved because it's going to take a little bit more interaction. Mine is working. You can see an image. Okay, great. All right. Well, verse 1. We got trouble, my friends, right here in River City. Starts with a D, and that rhymes with D, and that stands for David. David's in trouble. Saul has decided David's got to go, and he's going to kill him. And David and Jonathan have made a pact that they are not going to harm each other, that David will take care of Jonathan's descendants. Jonathan has all but said, you will be king, and I know it, and I'm not going to be king, and so therefore, I submit, you can go, we'll protect each other. That's amazing. Okay? So what you got, David's on his way out, and what's he do? He hightails it to one of the priests' outposts where they have the sacrifices. He knows that there's going to be food there. See, this is the thing. This is a little sticky because David knows where would be a great place to hide from Saul. Well, why not go to the priests? And there, the priests, he knows that he's going to have to get out of Israel. He's going to have to go. Saul's going to find him. He needs to have this cooling off period where Saul will chill out. And then maybe somehow they can come back into alignment. But right now, David's got to get out. Well, on the way out, he's got to pick up some supplies because he's on foot. No horse, no donkey, no sword, nada. He has no supplies, nothing to eat. So he goes to the priests. Now, here's where it gets sticky. First of all, David lies. He straight up lies to the priests. He lies. Let me see if this is fixed or not, because I'd really rather, I appreciate the image and all, but is it stuck? It's still stuck. There's Brad having coffee. Doggone it. All right, let's look at this far better picture. All right, so he straight up lies to the priests. He says he's on an errand. It's a royal errand. Saul has sent him, and it's a secret mission. Hey, priest man, it's a secret mission. I can't tell you, but I need your bread. Well, here's the problem. The bread was consecrated. That was called the bread of the presence, meaning it was only supposed to be eaten by priests, and only if everybody involved is ceremonially clean. And we've talked about what is clean and what is unclean. But that's holy bread. It's the bread of the presence. From Exodus 25:30 and Leviticus 24, 5-9. It could be eaten by priests if clean. And now, here's the thing. Ahimelech, the priest, he was bending the rules. He could kind of skirt it and justify it a little bit, but the reality, which is awesome, is that David knows this. And he's kind of like, well, let's bend the rules a little bit. It's, hey, you, Joe, Priest Joe, is this going to work? Well, I think it may be, probably not, I don't know. So they were kind of just bending the rules knowing, but it was based on a lie. It was based on a lie of David. So these poor priests are bending the rules unknowingly. Now, here's where it gets crazy and awesome. If you jump way ahead into the New Testament, Jesus actually references this. He says that those rules were far too legalistic. They were shallow. The interpretations were shallow. And it's proven out by Jesus' own defense or even endorsement about him saying, you should put mercy before ceremonial law. Whoa, people. Somebody put up a comment. I'm seeing stagnant comments here. And that's rough when I'm looking at just a stagnant picture. Jesus himself said, hey, this is ceremonial law and you got it wrong. You should put mercy before this. You should put the needs of the people before ceremonial stuff. Yes, ceremony is important. No doubt there. But mercy comes first. And so, but again, the priests did this based on a lie. Now, they're innocent in this. They're absolutely innocent in this. They didn't do anything wrong. But we're going to find out, sadly, they're going to pay with their lives, even though they didn't do anything wrong. Okay? Bulletproof says, Ahimelech asked David why David was alone, but in verse 4, he references young men with David. Ahimelech does? Let me see, verse 4. And the priest answered David, I have no common bread on hand, but here's the holy bread. If the young men... Okay, no, because if you go back, Bulletproof, it says David said, verse 2, David said to Ahimelech the priest, the king has charged me of the matter, and said to me, let no one know of anything of this matter of which I send you and with which I've charged you. I have made an appointment with the young men for such and such a place. So that is based on the lie that David told the priest. The priest is like, hey, have your men been cleaned? Because David said, hey, I've got an appointment with these young men and we've got to meet in such and such a place. How about being a little bit more vague there, David? Can you be any more vague? And so I think the priest is just basing that off of what David said, like, well, I've got to meet with these young men. And so the priests are going, wait a minute, are these guys clean? Because we can't give you this food if they're unclean. Yes, Phoebe, this is the beginning of David's downhill slide. Yep, he's willing to lie to save his own skin. He's willing to break ceremonial law, which even Jesus said ceremonial law is not as important as mercy. But here's the thing. I started mentally drawing a connection between, Eli and the sons of Eli and what David just did. Think about that for a second. Eli and his sons, they abused their power. They abused the sacrifice. It said they had contempt for the sacrifice of the Lord. And David is lying to get food, to feed his bones, to get out of Dodge because Saul's after him. Is there a parallel there? I almost went there and then I decided not to. And here's why. Okay. I went there. Bulletproof. It's still tied. I believe it's still tied. I think David was basically saying, I've got to meet these people, or I've got these dudes. I think he was basically giving the priests more flim flam, and they believed it. Anyway, going back to Eli and David, I don't make that connection because while David was skirting and sinning in the lie, he didn't have contempt for the sacrifice because it was permissible by, if you went with Jesus' rules. But Eli and the sons of Eli were openly sinning. It said all of Israel knew what they were doing, that these guys were dirtbags. Where this is different in that David was trying to save his own skin, which is wrong that he would lie about that, no doubt, and he's going to pay for it. But it wasn't like such rampant, open sin. But in my mind, I thought, boy, these guys are doing the same thing, aren't they? All right, Southern Prairie Homestead says, or Phoebe says, he's probably thinking, if I can get by with this, what else can I get by with? Phoebe, I see what you're saying, but I kindly disagree. And I say that because I think he's just trying to save his own skin. I don't think he's trying to put anybody over on anything except get my butt out of here. It may occur to him later that, whoa, I just got away with this. But right now, I think he's in get out of here mode. But that's my opinion. Southern Prairie Homestead. David was under the influence of divine inspiration at the time. It is well known that from all antiquity, it was held no crime to tell a lie in order to save a life, but not to a priest. There's where I disagree with you, Southern Prairie Homestead. You couldn't do it to a priest. Not at all. And so while I see the essence of what you're saying, you could not do that to a priest, and you most certainly, under ceremonial law, would not be able to lie to get the bread of the presence. So he was lying, and it was a straight-up lie. I see where you're going, but you couldn't do that in this situation. Okay. Desperate men do desperate things. Agreed. I think at this point, he's just being a raw, instinctual, carnal dude. I got to get out of here. Okay, now, continuing on. Let's say we look at verse 7. All right, now, a certain man of the servants of Saul, who was there that day, detained before the Lord. His name was Doeg, the Edomite, the chief of Saul's herdsmen. Period. The end. Period. The end. Then, we don't hear about Doeg for a long time until the next chapter, when mysteriously Doeg, the only witness to the crime, pops up. Sounds like a Scooby-Doo episode, isn't it? Or a Perry Mason or a Matlock episode, that all of a sudden the one guy who could frame him pops up, just happens to be there, happens to be a trusted servant of Saul, right? Poof. Hey, Doeg, what's going on, bro? So, yeah, kind of important information stuck in there that would seem random right now, but there you go. Okay, so keep that in mind because it's coming back up. Now, here's where it gets super juicy. This is where it gets just off the charts. This is divine right here, okay? So David's saying, hey, you got a sword or spear? And he's like, no, not really. Well, wait a minute. You know that sword you chopped that giant's head off with? I got that right over here in the corner. It's behind the ephod, bro. You want that? Sure. How perfectly appointed. The sword of the Philistine that David ended up becoming a massively popular champion of Israel just happens. Yeah, right. Coincidence. Right. It was placed there intentionally. God had the plan long before David even became the champion of Israel. So, the sword of Goliath happens to be there. Hey, David says, there's none like it. Give it to me. Now, it gets even juicier. So David's hightailing it out of town. He's got his lie bread, an L-I-E bread, and heads to where? Where does it say he goes? Gath. G-A-T-H, which is beautiful. Where was Goliath from? Let me give you one guess. Gath. Oh, go back and look. Goliath, the giant, their champion, whose head was cut off by David with Goliath's own sword, by the way, was from Gath. Now David shows up in Goliath's hometown with Goliath's sword, and I don't think he thought it through very well, because as he gets there, he's like, oh, poop. Didn't really think about this. Maybe I should well, it's too late. They've seen me. They recognized I'm the guy they're singing songs about. Okay, let's play crazy. Yeah, I know. You're singing, they know about the 10,000 song. They know about that. And they're like, hey, who's this guy? Oh, that's the 10,000 guy. Holy mackerel. So David strolls into town like an old Western. You were the slayer of Goliath. Nope, I'm crazy. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It says he starts peeing on everything. Yeah, peeing. He says he starts peeing on everything, making marks on the doors of the gate. And he starts spitting all over himself, running it down his beard, acting like a crazy man, because that was also to save his own skin. He's like, okay, I'm here. Guess I should have thought that one out better. Okay. So what we have here is the king of Gath, which that's kind of an interesting study in itself. That word king there of Gath, it really meant kind of like a regional lord, L-O-R-D, not necessarily king. It was like a title that the Philistines gave out, like commander or captain, but it was bigger than that. So it was more like a title, that he was not necessarily the big K king of Gath. He was more like a lord, but still. So Achish looks at him and goes, this guy's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now, here's the question. Why didn't he just take David and maybe tie him up and haul him out in front of the Israelites? And if you were a nasty-wasty Philistine looking for vengeance, you would have maybe, say, I don't know, either ransomed him back or cut him up in front of your enemies. That would have sent a big message. Hey, here's your champion. Swig of coffee. How about that? Here's your champion. We'll chop him up right in front of you. These are nasty people. Why not make that? Maybe he was afraid of him. I mean, he's got Goliath's sword. Maybe Achish was afraid of him. You know? Maybe he was like, well, let's just let him be. Let's see what's going on. Maybe he's come here because something bad's happened. Maybe we don't know what's gone on in Achish's mind, but he doesn't kill him. For whatever reason, God's providence was in David's life yet again. Even after he lied to the priests, took the bread of the presence, and got out of town. God was protecting David even then. Okay? So for whatever reason, he didn't allow him or didn't kill him. Now, Southern Prairie Homestead says, it is easy to criticize David at this point, but he doubtless felt alone. Agreed, which we've pressed out. Pursued by Saul, yes. Unable to go to Jonathan or Samuel. True. I'm agreeing with all of that. But still, he lied. He lied to the priests to save his own skin, and that is what we call sin. It is true. So I agree with you. Would we do similar in that case? Probably. I'm not saying he was not freaking out. Of course he was freaking out. But he still sinned. And now he's stuck. Bulletproof Pastor says, madness was considered contagious. Okay, I go with you there, Pastor Bulletproof Tyler Woods. Again, then, Achish should have killed him. If madness is contagious, then he should have killed him. Somebody should have shot him with an arrow and been done with it. If madness is contagious, then you end him. And then you could even still use him as a political tool. If the guy's dead, drag him out in front of the Israelites and be like, look who we got. We got your bad boy. Come and get us. And they wouldn't. Okay, Southern Prairie Homestead says, it's sad that the servant of God could find no place of safety among God's people. Southern Prairie Homestead, now I challenge you to think of it like this. If you are the king's champion, Saul's champion, and now all of a sudden Saul has flipped on you so insanely fast, okay? Would you trust anybody to keep you safe? Because the king's wrath would be on him. And furthermore, so number one, who can you trust? Because the king would probably, hey, were you with David? No. When you gave him shelter, then when he finds out, your whole family's dead. Then you could even look at it on the other side. If you want to go to the positive side of this, you could say, well, David was protecting those people by not going there because he would be putting them at risk. You can think of it that way. You can think of it like David's like, well, I got to get out of town. I can't go to their house because Saul's going to go there and he's going to crack and then they're going to kill him. I won't do that to them. I'm out of here. You can look at it either way, but I think that it was intentional that David hightailed it out of there and did not put anybody in jeopardy. But that's my thing. Killing an insane person might release a demon that would indwell in you. You know, okay, put yourself in the position of Achish. I'm going with shoot the guy with arrows and drag him out. Take the chance. Let the demon go on somebody else. I mean, this is the guy that killed the champion of all of Philistine. This, it does not add up. Because the only way it adds up, guys, in my mind, is that God was protecting David. Because there would be far too much political hay to be made by bringing a living David back to Israel. I mean, let's play it out. Thinking about, oh shoot, I'm already late. But think it out. Strategy game it out. Think like a chess player. If you're Achish, whoa, the queen, if you're playing chess, The queen just walked into your checkmate. And what are you going to do with it? You could strike and then the game's over. The king will be had within a few moves. If you drag him out there, you could say, well, hey, I'll trade you. What do you want for this guy? I want land. I want this. I want that. I want that. And I want you to stay out of my lands for the next 100 years. Deal. And Saul would have done it because he wanted to kill David. Think about it. This is political gold. You have the queen, and the queen means once I got the queen, I got checkmate. Okay? There was a great amount of fear and caution surrounding insanity. Culture was extremely hands-off back then. I agree. But this was an opportunity. This was an opportunity that it's like all of a sudden, you know, all of a sudden some massively, insanely huge opportunity just plops in your lap right there. And all you have to do is reach out and take it. And then you'll win. It's a risk that I would have taken if I were Achish. But then again, I'm not Achish. Okay. Phoebe says, David is a lone wolf in a town where everyone hates you. Not a good place to be in any circumstance. Great. I agree. Southern Prairie Home said, possibly David acted the part of lunatic or madman in order to get out of the hands of Achish and his courtiers. I agree with that. I agree. See, Bulletproof Pastor is saying, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm saying that if I were Achish, I would have taken that chance. I don't care if there's bad juju behind insanity. I don't care if it was like, oh my gosh, this is taboo. I don't care if they worshiped insane people. It was a risk worth taking. And he messed up. And guess what? He ends up paying for it. And we'll see. Tomorrow, we're going to start reading about how David starts building basically an army of the discontents and the malcontents and the uncontents and the incontents and the people that don't like, and most of those words are not real, but that don't like life there. And Achish should have taken the chance when he had it. You're going to see. Scott says David should have hidden in the only place Saul wouldn't have expected, the passageway of the king's palace. That's funny. Perhaps the Philistines still remembered the ark. True. Possibly. All right, guys, as I've gone long, and yeah, the deplorables. Excellent, Phoebe. I don't know why you don't move to the U.S. You sound more like a patriot, a United States patriot, than most of the people I run into. So you should move. Come to Wisconsin, even though Wisconsin's not a very conservatively run state. But the weather's a lot like yours. So anyway, let's jump into a time of prayer, and hopefully we can figure out what's going on with the interwebs here today. So let's pray. On your mark, get set. Father God, thank you for this means of communication, even though it's not what we're used to. I pray that your word has gone out and been illuminated in a way that will excite us and bring about change and make us think about our own lives, and that it's not just words on a page, but it's life. It's action. It motivates us to do more and be more and submit more to you. Help us to love you more today and love your people, all people. In Jesus' holy and precious name, amen. All righty, guys. Have an awesome and blessed day. Oh, Phoebe, find me a way to support myself, and I am there. All you have to say is that, oh no, I was going to get, sorry, Phoebe. Come through the south border and claim asylum. There you go. All your worries are taken care of. Love you guys. Bye.